Indiana Jones Staff of Kings for Sony PlayStation Portable. Go on an epic 1930s adventure, as Indiana Jones, to explore the mystery behind the Staff of Moses. Fight against various traps such as rolling boulders. Fight against various enemies with everyday objects such as a chair, a gun and more. Explore both ancient and modern vibrant environments, with plenty of danger. Whip swing on certain objects to glide through the air, and avoid falling to the perilous depths below. Overall, this is an excellent PSP title for the ages, to buy.